All right, we're live. I don't know what we're gonna call this, but maybe we're gonna do more episodes, maybe not. Who knows? But without further ado, my name's Justin,
And what's up? I'm Oscar.
and we've been friends for the past around 15 years, more than that, actually. Yeah. So we met in like second grade,
Yeah,
right?
let's see. Let's see. I know you since I was I want to since I was like 7.
Yeah, seven. Yeah. That was seven. That was second grade, and we haven't seen each other for 15 years actually. Yeah. We hung out since we were 7 years old. We moved away like 2010 when we were like 10 years old. 14, 15 years.
Yeah,
It's cool. I
I
mean,
haven't
I'm
seen
not.
this man since like 4th grade.
Yeah. No, it's crazy because we all moved at the same time, right? It was us and then our other friend Logan. We all kind of like left at the same summer, right?
Yeah, and what's funny was like nobody like moved, from one city to the next. No. It was either like state over or just like a different country.
Exactly. For context, I'm in California. I've been here since we moved in 2010. And Oscar.
Uh, I'm over here in like the north of Chile. I've been here since I think 2013. And yeah, just to have an idea, there's like a 5-hour time difference between us.
Oh,
So
yeah. Across many a land, many a land and many a sea. It's interesting, like just to all of a sudden and grow up and just become a man, and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, some things never change.
well, I think that's one thing, but I think like one thing that also I guess helped us out, well, both of us really, is the fact that neither of us are originally American. We're both from other parts of the world, and being like a what a no sabo kid is.
No sabo? No.
Yeah, you
No,
know what
like
that
no
is.
sabes? Like the no don't not know?
Yeah, so a no
Uh
sabo kid is basically like a kid that has grows up with two different cultures. The example comes from if you have like a Latino kid who lives in the States for
yeah.
a long time, his family are
Yeah.
Latino, but he doesn't really like pick up much Spanish. He'll think that
Right,
the
right.
correct way to say it is no sabo instead of no sabes. That's where it
No
comes from.
mames. It's no mames
No
kid, bro. I was
mames.
I was no mames kid.
Yeah, so pretty much. So I know we were both no sabo kids. We were just like there. We basically grew up
Uh-huh.
American, but at the end of the day, it's
Yeah.
like, brother, I am just completely Latino.
Yeah, no. It's for me too. I was born in Wisconsin. And it's like it was weird because I only was there as a baby. I went back very recently just to see and visit, but my family's from South Korea, and it's culturally very different. But at the same time, it's being an American, right? And then growing up in this culture here, and then also at the same time seeing the culture from my parents' land creep in and become big here. That's really cool. So yeah, it was very strange. At least in this time, in this time period, in this timeline that we're in.
Definitely for me too. I mean, it was a bit different for me because just some context. So I've been moving around through different countries since I was a little kid. I'm originally from Venezuela, but that's actually like the place where I've least spent my time.
Yeah.
I was over in the state for a few years. I live here in Chile right now. I went back to Venezuela for a few years, and I even had a brief stay in Mexico. So it's been like a lot of change, like all the time. And for me, it was either like when I was over in the States, okay, there weren't that many people that maybe looked like me. There were, of course, Latinos, but not necessarily people from Venezuela. But that was always like whatever. But then when I moved to back to Venezuela, I wasn't really like one of the Venezuelan kids. They were always like el gringuito.
Oh wow. Oh yeah. It's like, come on, man. I mean, you were born there too, right? So
Yeah, I
it's
was.
yeah, it's like you were a citizen.
No, yeah, but I feel like the culture's like it's real different. It's real different,
Mm.
and I definitely see that a lot now because at least here in Chile and other than the states too, like there's a lot of immigration from Venezuela, and there's definitely a big culture shock there. So I think I kind of got
Uh,
like the opposite treatment of that. So I got the culture shock, but the other way around. I showed up to
right.
Venezuela was like, hey, what's going on here?
hmm No, that's very strange. I think it's like that's almost like one of those like it's like a funhouse mirror. It's like a
Yeah.
weird reflection of like something that's so familiar, but then at the same time you're like, oh wow, my experience is so different. I'm pretty sure we'd feel the same way if we went back to Florida.
I definitely get where we're going with this. So it's like I thought about this too. It's like okay,
Uh-huh.
let's say I have a big old job opportunity, right, and I get to go over to the States. Like, would I
Mhm.
like that? For one, I say, yeah, I mean, sure, I get to see you, get to see my friends there, and I do like the U.S., but it'd probably be a lot different. If I went to to Orlando, like right now, where we used to live,
Yeah.
I doubt it's anything like what I remember. Heck, I might
Right.
not even like it, and I don't know.
Mhm.
So I'm
Yeah,
kind
no,
of worried about that.
I don't know if I'd like it either. It's like one of those things that you have like an idealized version, right, of, the time in the past when you were there, and I think anything else that isn't that was probably gonna be, like, weird. It's gonna probably feel weird.
Yeah,
I don't know, a lot of fun stuff happened though, like, growing up in Florida of all places, because like, the place that we were living in was, like, one of those, like, new urban developments, right? It's like
yeah,
one
pretty
of those
much.
newer communities that were built, and it's just, like, the only land around it's, like, recently drained swampland almost, but that meant, like, we had like people our own age, as kids around. There's a lot of families, right? Like because we had our own schools and we had our own like shopping centers and everything. It was a lot freer, than if you were growing up in the city.
Yeah, I guess so. And when we're talking about like swamps, we're talking about like recently, very recently drained swamps.
Very recently.
Uh, I don't
Yeah.
know if you remember this. Like, I have one memory, which is like, just for context, the elementary school we went to it had I remember at least this like big old bridge you had to cross to go from like one
Oh
side
yeah.
where all the like the
Boardwalk.
residential district was exactly to go over to where the school was. So, and if I remember correctly, that big old bridge was over like some sort of drainage system.
Yeah.
So I remember one instance where I was going on my bike to school, and I
Mhm.
was super late because I got to the beginning part of the bridge. They stopped me. There were cops around it. Like I couldn't go. Turns
Yeah.
out
The school
this
guards,
big,
like
yeah.
security guards.
Turns out a big ass gator, like the biggest gator I've ever seen in my like 10-year-old mind, had
Damn.
somehow found its way into the sewage system. I don't know if you remember this. Like maybe there's just like a Mandela effect, but I remember this like so
Uh
clearly
huh.
that I saw a chopper come over and they had to basically, put the thing to sleep, or I don't know if they killed it. I'm not sure, but they had to like bring it down like a
Relocate
stretcher, yeah, and go
it.
get that thing on and just leave
Yeah.
it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I remember that, and like that
Airlift them
was,
out of there. We gotta
yeah,
lift.
that's what they had
We
to
gotta
do.
lift them out of there. Yeah, soldier down. I might have been in class. I already might have been in class by that time. If you were late. But yes, I do remember that boardwalk, and like it was over. Like the ground beneath it was always like wet. Remember, and there was
Yeah,
like
it was always
they're like
wet.
always like kind of like footprints from like animals and stuff, like raccoon prints. Or I remember the neighbors telling us like boar used to go around there too.
Really?
Um, yeah, and deer too. They were. I mean, I'm sure you've seen deer in that neighborhood.
Yeah, definitely. So it definitely felt
Yeah.
like it's weird. It was a new urban like development, right? It felt like the houses were
Mhm.
fairly new, but it didn't feel like a new area. I always felt like it had very like a sort of nature vibe to it. Like I
Yeah,
remember, just go around
exactly.
like there.
I think it's because it was like recently drained swampland, because it's like it's really just next to what was previously like kind of undeveloped land that was out there.
Pretty
And
much. So I have a bunch of memories of seeing deer, seeing like way
Mhm.
too many raccoons that just weren't supposed to be there, possums, gators. They were just like all just running around. It was very
Yeah, yeah. No, and that's what we used to do outside all the time. I used to spend my time every day playing outside. Um, and that's what it was. It's just catching lizards, snakes,
yeah.
kind of stuff. And then, like looking for like animals. And like every pond too, every like retention pond that was out there had like a gator, like a resident gator in it. Like there's
Yeah,
like
pretty
one
much.
that lived there. Yeah. Did you ever go down to the St. John's River? Well,
Listen,
you were
I don't
there.
know it by name. If you can describe
Mhm.
it, I might be able to help you out.
Yeah, I mean, it was basically like I forgot which freeway it is, but like drive out of the neighborhood and then you kind of keep on going towards. I would say like it's like Cocoa Beach towards so eastward. I would
Oh yeah,
say,
I know what that is.
if I'd guess. So yeah, keep on going down that way, and then there's like a big like river system that's out there. I guess one of the main things was like every now and then there were like rest stops where you can kind of park your car and then go on a boardwalk that goes over like this big river like marsh area.
Oh,
Um,
gotcha, gotcha. So
yeah,
I don't know if it's the same sort of river you're talking about, but I do remember one instance where I went fishing with one of my neighbors.
nice.
Well, thing was like I'd never gone fishing before, and he decided to
Uh-huh.
just like take us fishing over to like these sort of swamp areas, like these marsh.
Yeah.
So I went with my
Yeah.
grandpa, remember? And well,
Mhm.
my granddad also fished, but he was used to he's from Venezuela as well, so he
Mhm.
was used to that version of fishing, very just like open
Yeah.
waters, right? Everything very crystal clear.
Nice.
This was the complete
Nice.
opposite.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Just junk. Just
I
junk in the
remember
water.
yeah. So I remember like this is was kind of traumatic for me. So I was over there. We were fishing, right? Wasn't catching anything. My neighbor sees this. He's like, "Hey, you look kind of sad, Oscar. You want to you want to drive the boat?" I was like, "Oh,
Mhm.
oh shit. Oh heck, yeah, sure. I'll do that." So
Yeah.
10-year-old me is super excited. He's just like driving the freaking thing. So here's what happens. I don't know how to drive a boat.
How old were you at that time?
I was like 10.
Okay. Here, take the steering wheel. Do your
Yeah, pretty
shit.
much. So I don't know how I did this in like 4 minutes, but I managed to sort of get like a part of the rudder like stuck on some rocks or like some sort of like
Or like a
non-level
sandbar or
like part of
something.
the exactly something like that,
Uh-huh.
right?
Gotcha, gotcha.
So we just couldn't keep moving. We just heard like and the thing
Mhm.
freaking start to turn off. So I started freaking out because this place we were at, I don't remember where it was completely just infested by gators. In fact, this
Yeah,
was the first thing they told me when I went there. They're like, "Hey, if you see bubbles in the water, don't
yeah.
worry about it. It's just a dinosaur. It's fine."
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, not to ruffle any feathers, but there's a prehistoric beast, 16 feet long underneath you right now.
Exactly, and that wasn't the
Uh,
worst part. The worst part was one of these one of these dudes was more curious than I wish he would have been. So I actually
mm,
like I remember this clear as day. We got
uh-huh.
stuck. The thing like freaking turns off, and I start seeing some bubbles, and the bubbles start swaying around. They start getting really close, and I'm like,
Right.
oh heck,
Oh, hell no.
heck no. So it turns out one of these gators actually like comes out of the water and sticks their head out for a bit,
Uh-huh.
right, and puts it against the boat we're on.
Yeah. Oh my God. How big was it?
Yeah. Look, in my 10-year-old mind, it was a T Rex, okay?
Damn. I
I
mean,
can't say
no
exactly,
matter
but
the
I
size,
thought it was huge.
that's crazy. Yeah. That's scary.
Yeah, it was real scary for me. But the thing that made it awesome was my neighbor was kind of used to this. He was like fished here a lot of times. So I vividly remember him grabbing his fishing rod and just fucking punting the, the thing with it.
Just smacking it.
Yeah,
Oh
smacking
wow.
like, bah! It's like,
Yeah, yeah.
have you seen that video of that Australian guy hitting a gator with a frying pan?
Yes, I've seen that. And then the Australian guy punching the kangaroo that was like that had his like dog in a headlock, you know? Have you seen
Yeah,
that one?
so
Oh, that
exactly the
was
same thing, but
crazy.
with a fishing rod.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for him, he's done this before. He's like, this is why we have spare rods in our boat, you know? Like, this
Yeah,
is
pretty
why we
much.
have 7 different rods of different weights. They're clubs.
Yeah, and the main thing for me living in over there in Orlando was the whole like wildlife thing. So let me give some context. So I'm
Yeah.
from Caracas, part of Venezuela
Mhm.
that's actually pretty much all Venezuela has a lot of wildlife. We're close to the Amazon rainforest, lots of stuff.
Yeah.
And like in my school, there was I remember I was at the school where we had like two different playgrounds. There was like the newer
Mhm.
one, and, like the more abandoned one. And he said like, "Hey, you shouldn't go down to like forested an area because there'll be animals in there." It was
Mhm.
super normal. You have to evacuate the classroom because you saw like a scorpion or something.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
That was a
So
very
so
very common occurrence.
unless
Or
something just gets stung, and that's that's a lawsuit waiting to happen.
yeah, exactly. And you also had snakes. I think, if I remember correctly,
Uh-huh.
you also had sloths. I think it was also kind of like normal to have sloths just fall out of
No
trees.
way. No
Yeah,
way.
really.
Wait, but you would evacuate the school for that?
No, just the scorpions and
Okay.
the snakes and stuff. The
Gotcha,
sloths would just
gotcha,
sort of
gotcha.
fall, and we'd be like, "Oh man,
Oh,
poor
oh,
dude."
man. It's gonna take him forever to get back up.
Yo, and actually, did you know that if a sloth falls down from a tree,
Uh-huh.
you're not supposed to pick him up?
Oh, I heard about this. It's about, like, orientation, right? Like, how they orient themselves?
Yeah,
Like, they
and
get
also like the explanation that I saw was that their beats per minute are so freaking low. If they're in like very high stress situations, like you just pick them up and they freak out, they can have a heart attack.
oh my goodness gracious. Yeah. Wow. That's like the that's like the peak of being chill as hell, you know? It's like the peak of being super chill is like if somebody like helps you or like does you a favor, you're like, bro. you're killing me with your kindness right now. You know, I'm about to
And that
die.
legitimately happened. So I remember that instruction.
Yeah,
You're like,
you're killing him
brother,
with kindness. You know.
yeah, like if you see one fall down, ignore him. You'll be fine.
Exactly. Or nah, you actually what you got to do is you got to pick him up and slap him across the face, you know, and call him a slur. Disrespect that little motherfucker.
Yeah. So just so you know, so like my parents were used to this. We're used to just like having a bunch of a lot of mortal dangers just like around the corner. So
Yeah.
I remember with moving to Avalon, we
Mhm.
realized there were some snakes in our yard, and
Yeah.
my dad, being being the manly man he is, he was gonna try and kill some of the snakes out there.
Oh yeah. It's time.
And
Time to put a hurt
yeah,
on him.
exactly. And then our neighbor was the one that told us, like, brother, no, don't. That is
Yeah. Don't.
illegal. That's freaking
Wait,
illegal.
it's illegal?
They're,
I didn't know it was
uh,
illegal.
I mean, it depends on the snake, but some snakes
Oh,
are
right.
actually they're not. The term is venomous. Yeah, they're not venomous,
Yeah.
and they
Oh,
also
okay.
control the local wildlife population as far as they
Mhm.
hunt like possum stuff like that. So there are
Yeah.
certain protected species that you're not supposed to hurt, and they actually go and
Mm.
help the ecosystem they're in.
Right.
So if
Right.
you go and do that, you can get sued.
Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah. I wasn't aware because with I've seen people like a video of like who was it? It was like one of the kids we went to school with. Like it was a video of his like dad cutting off the head of a rattlesnake like with a shovel. And I was just
What?
like, yeah, no, it was crazy. And then I learned later on like not to do that because the head still jumps after it's decapitated and it's still capable of delivering venom. Now, not only did you make two of them, you know, it's all like the one that has all the venom is like fast now. It can jump.
You just gave him, more mobility to work with.
He's unpredictable. But
Like you
yes.
said that you remember me. Have you seen this like? There's this sort of like interview that was done with like a farmer where
Mhm.
I forgot how it happened, but one of his chickens lost its head
Mm. Oh,
and
I've
like,
seen
it
like
lived for
magic
like 2 weeks
tricks.
after.
Yeah, no, I've seen magic tricks that are like, magicians like take the head off of a chicken and still alive and
No,
it's
but
I don't
real
know how
talk,
that works. Uh-huh.
there are actually documented cases of decapitated chickens just chilling around.
Interesting.
The chicken doesn't die because it sort of bleeds out or anything like that. Like nothing like that happens. The reason the chicken ends up dying is because it just can't eat.
Interesting. Yeah, well,
But
that's so
anyway,
weird.
like
You'd
yeah, it is
expect
really
the
weird.
brain to be making all the decisions, right? And it's like if it's detached from its brain, then technically everything else that's working is supposed to be like an autonomic function. Like it's supposed to be like involuntary, right?
It should be.
So
Well, then again,
therefore
I'm
it's
not
not
your
like
resident expert.
conscious. I guess it's not like conscious, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, that's what I'm guessing, but then again, I'm not your resident like chicken expert.
Yeah, yeah.
The most I can imagine is maybe, mm, you know how you have like your reptilian brain, you know?
Yeah, like your medulla, like the instinct kind of thing.
The only thing I can think of is something like that happening with the chicken. Like a certain part of its brain was still intact somehow.
Oh, gotcha, gotcha. Well, that would make more sense if like they took the head off, but then left like that portion that's like it's like the base game, you know. It's like the base program, you know. They
Yeah,
left the base program, they took the DLC, you know.
but imagine like that happens, like like a rooster's chasing after you, and you try to do that same thing you talked about, like hit it with a shovel.
Yeah, yeah.
You do that, and then it keeps running after you.
Oh my god.
Just
Oh,
imagine the visual.
oh, that's scary. It's like a zombie. What do you do? You know, do you crush it? Do you burn it? Do you or oh, you cook it? Obviously.
Yeah,
But that's
you
a
know, like
that's a wild that's a wild. I mean, I wonder if that has ever happened to anybody.
I think of those like those like motivational images, but they're just like just really bad. There's one of
Yeah,
like a
with like the
chicken.
little captions on the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There's one of like a chicken looking up to the stars, like remember what you once were, and just like a T-Rex over the sky.
Just like yeah, just be dreams, ancestral dreams of being on top of the food chain. You know, it's
Yeah,
just
exactly.
yeah.
And hey, and growing up, my granddad had a farm actually, and I
Uh huh.
learned real quick not to mess with chickens,
Oh yeah, I heard they could get pretty nasty, especially when they're
bro.
like guarding eggs and stuff.
Little bastards they're really fast and they're really aggressive. They'll scratch the fuck at
Mm.
you.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because did you know the one of the? I guess I just read this on like Wikipedia the other day, but if it's true, it's pretty interesting. But because I was just going down a rabbit hole about like the domestication of animals, like animal
Yeah.
species and stuff. They were talking about chickens, and they said originally chickens were domesticated for for fighting. For fighting
Oh,
each
really?
other. Oh yeah, nah. Even cavemen were gambling back then. You know, it's like they were literally just like, what we're gonna do is get all the fellas in the village. We're gonna go to the center, make a pit, and see which one of these birds win. We're gonna be betting berries or some shit on
You know what?
on who's
I imagine it more of like, how to solve, disputes. I don't know if you've watched a show.
yeah.
It's called Kengan. It's basically, where big old
Oh,
corporations,
I've
let's say,
heard
like,
about.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
so it's like,
memes like the ripped ass dudes just going
exactly. So it's
crazy.
like,
Yeah, no, I seen that.
imagine there's like a new patent for a phone, and there's like
Yeah,
a big old legal battle between like Android and Apple. So instead
yeah.
of trying to do that in court, they sound like
Uh-huh.
two buff dudes just beat each other up, and whoever
Yeah.
wins gets the right to the patent. So
Yeah,
imagine that
yeah,
same
yeah,
concept but
yeah.
with chickens. I
It's
imagine it was just
trial by
like
combat, bro. It's trial by combat.
exactly. So I imagine just like a
Hell
bunch
yeah.
of dudes, a bunch of cavemen, like fighting over
Yeah.
land, and they're like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, yeah.
we- we're not uncivilized. We'll let the chickens handle this.
Exactly. It's like, dude, for after a while, it's like we've lost too many good men, in this fight. May the best bird decide. May the best one decide, man. I think they were originally found in like the forests in like what's now China.
Yeah.
So we talk about some like PTSD, war-torn Chinese cavemen, or maybe they were just gambling. I mean, we Asians, we love gambling. It's that it goes back thousands of years, man. Started with the birds.
We all have it to some degree, but it's sort of like
Uh-huh.
morbid curiosity. Like I don't know if you've
Yeah.
seen these really old YouTube videos, like of channels that would be like I don't know, scorpion versus tarantula. They would just literally just get a bunch
Yeah,
of they just put them in
yeah,
like a
yeah,
cage and just see who dies
mhm.
first.
Yeah, yeah. It's like those. It's a very cruel thing to do,
It
but I
is
was
it is very
like,
cruel.
at the same time, I'm like, the kid in me, right? These videos came out like 2010. I remember them. That shit's cool as fuck. That shit's.
Yeah,
I've always wondered who would win in a fight.
that's what I'm
I always
saying.
wondered.
It
Yeah,
it's this morbid curiosity. Like there was like a stream right now that said like, okay, we
yeah.
put a gorilla and a grizzly bear in a cage, see who wins. That'd be
Oh my
messed up,
goodness.
but I might just watch it.
But they're too sentient. They're too sentient. I think it might be a worthwhile pursuit to make them use sign
Okay.
language like some like chimpanzees do. That'd be cool because they're smart enough. I guess they're smart. Be
Well,
smart enough.
you know that gorillas can actually use sign language. Just
Oh, that's true. Coco, like Robin
yeah.
Williams was telling jokes. Yeah.
So it turns out gorillas can do two things. They're not actually that good at communicating, but they're very good at understanding language. They can actually understand English pretty well, and they can also understand sign language. They can do both. Now, they only respond with things like related to food, but if you give them like
Mhm.
complex instructions, they actually do it. So interesting.
I mean, so they just choose not to. They just choose
They
not to
just
talk to
want
you.
to.
Oh my good. They should be paying taxes, bro. But I'm not gonna lie. They gotta be paying taxes, man.
If we had a
Mhm.
moose, let's get a moose against a completely grown stag, like three of them, since there's a big
Yeah.
size difference.
Yeah. Or like an
I
elk,
know it's
like a male elk. You know,
Yeah, exactly. So
angry.
I know it's messed up, but you always have these things in your mind like I wonder who would win. So I can definitely imagine just a bunch of cavemen seeing like a bunch of really buff chickens, just these dinosaurs looking dudes, and be like, I wonder which one's better.
I don't know. I think well, that's where kind of that selective breeding, and the artificial selection. I guess that's where that comes in. That's they were picking the ones that were the winners. Because I don't even know if people back then had an explanation, right? They're just like, "What? It just so happens we just keep the ones that win alive, and they just make more of them."
Yeah. So here's the thing. So from my knowledge of the subject, so when it comes to things like, for example, wolves, it's like the most one of the most documented cases we have, right?
Yeah.
I don't think there's currently like just one theory that's widely accepted as far as when, not so much when we started domesticating wolves, but when
Uh-huh.
selective breeding actually started to happen. We know it
Right.
happened, and we know that we went through
Mhm.
different traits and tried to find the friendliest ones. We know this happened. Now, when
Mhm.
exactly did it happen? Like in what generation? Whose idea was it? Like, how did we even know to breed for these things? I would wait. I would probably wager that it wasn't like a conscious decision. It was just sort of like the
Yeah.
dogs or the wolves that are nicer, we tend to like to keep them around. And since we keep them
Right.
around, they
Right.
tend to
Right.
eat more, they tend to not die off
Hmm.
early, and they tend to reproduce more. Something like that.
Right.
And that
Right.
just sort of became his own thing. That's what I imagine.
Because we have dogs now as an example. Right now, we can really look at their physiology and kind of deduce, right, what
There are
was going through
actually,
the minds of those people.
yeah, actually, there are current examples of that. There's actually
Mhm.
I forget what this thing's called. There's basically like a research lab that's trying to introduce, let's say, domesticated foxes.
Yes, in Russia. I read about
Exactly.
that. Yeah. Yeah.
And they
No,
haven't
that's
been
cool.
that successful,
That's
to
what
be
I
honest.
heard. That's what I heard. I think that what they were saying with the main kind of like problem was with like, was it like housebreaking? Like housebreaking them? Getting them to understand not to like, pee or poo in the house and stuff.
Yeah,
I
that
think
was
that
part of
might
it. And
be
I
it.
also understood that, there's always like the joke that foxes are like, dog hardware and cat software. So
Yeah.
that's kind
Yeah.
of a big part of it. So
Mhm.
it's been really difficult to get foxes to be able to sort of live together in more confined
Mhm.
spaces and also just like not freak out when things happen.
Right, right, right. Yeah, it's like for them, they're always wired, huh? Like, cause every video I've seen of like someone like that has a fox for a pet, it's like running around.
Yeah, but that also has a lot to do with, I guess you'd call it like prey behavior. Because in the case of
Yeah,
wolves, they don't really have natural predators. Like we might find some instances of like, I
right,
don't
right,
know, a
right.
bear eating wolf, but it's not something that usually happens. But for
Hmm.
foxes, like bro, everything eats foxes. Eagles eat
Yeah,
foxes.
yeah, exactly. If they're small enough, they'll pick them up.
That probably contributes to them being a lot more flighty.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's interesting. I don't know even how we started talking about the domestication of, our favorite companion and livestock animals, but that's that's wild. Thinking about it, we used to like be super into animals as
Yeah.
kids. I remember like we were talking about that stuff all the time. I still remember like Animal Planet was like my favorite TV channel growing up. Do you remember that project in second grade where we like had to like pick an animal and then write a page essay about why you
Oh
picked
right.
the animal, why it's your favorite?
I
Yeah.
remember. I actually think I've
Yeah,
seen
yeah,
that
yeah.
like not that long ago. Like I really looked at the picture. So basically,
Oh, let's
it was like
go.
it was like the drawings. And it just had our
Yeah, yeah,
face
yeah.
on it. It was
Yeah, it
really
had
weird to
our
look
face
at.
on it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was very bad because the teacher was making a big deal about like we're gonna get bound copies of these books,
No,
and then like
and the worst part is it wasn't like pictures of animals. It was our like rendition of
drawings.
them.
There are drawings. Yeah, yeah. It's just our faces on like blobs of like color, like color pencil and crayon.
So if I remember
Mhm.
correctly, I'm pretty sure mine was a jaguar.
Yours was a
I
jaguar.
think,
I
and
remember.
I think
Yeah,
yours was some sort of lizard.
it was a lizard. I was nondescript lizard. I
Just a
loved.
lizard.
Yeah, no, my favorite part about them, and I remember writing that in the book, was like just how like relaxed they look, just soaking up the sun.
Yeah, I wrote like jaguars are they climb real good and they're buff.
They're the apex predator. They can mess up every single animal, including humans. That's an objectively better pick. I
Well,
literally chose the lizards in my backyard.
speaking of which, have you heard of the term? I think it's jaguar falls or something like that,
Jaguar
or deer
Falls.
rain. Deer rain, you call that too.
Deer rain?
Yeah.
No, I don't think I've heard of
Okay,
the term.
so I'm probably using the wrong term here, but the general gist of it is, this happens a lot
Mhm.
actually in Venezuela and also in Brazil and some places like that, where we live next to
Mhm.
rainforests. There are sometimes
Mhm.
signs that tell you to be very careful around trees because
Oh,
jaguars tend to go down, they kill
yeah,
something, and they don't
yeah.
finish eating it, and so nobody tries to steal it from them. They bring it up to a tree. So there are a bunch of instances of like really completely grown ass deer just falling from trees.
Oh my gosh! And just like, do they fall on people sometimes? Just like,
Yeah, it's happened. It's happened
oh
before.
my gosh, that and wow. So that means it's relatively common, or
Pretty
is it
much.
is it a common thing? Well, enough to put signs, right?
Yeah, it's at least common enough there are signs for it.
Wow,
Have you seen this video? I think it's an Indian guy who's like on a motorcycle and just a
nice.
huge tiger starts chasing him.
Oh my goodness, no, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I've seen that. Wait, hold on.
Oh my goodness.
I have to
Are
show
you
you
sure
this.
it's not like a Bollywood movie? Because I know Bollywood
No, no,
movies
no,
go
no.
hard. They go crazy with that kind of shit.
This is a real thing. Hold on now.
Yeah. Oh, it'd
Let's
only be a
see.
Bollywood movie if he like jumped off the bike and then like it explodes behind him and then like tiger's running up, does like a backflip and then chops him in the neck and then all of a sudden they start singing. A dance number begins.
Classic Bollywood, but like check out that
Oh
video.
yeah.
When I
All
watched it,
right.
it freaked me
Let's
out.
see it. Let's look at
Like
this.
10 seconds.
Uh, I'm pretty sure I already know YouTube's gonna sneak attack me with an ad on a 10-second video. Oh my gosh.
Freaky,
Dude.
huh?
Yeah, no, he comes out. He's literally just like he flanks him. He gets him from the side. He flanks him, and then well, he just runs off. Like he was trying to chase him down, and maybe he realized he couldn't take him.
I mean, he was close.
I don't know. He was very close, but I don't like. Yeah, I wonder what made him not commit. All he had to do was jump, and he would at least get one of the guys, on the back. He's maybe like 6 feet away. It's
Yeah, he's real
easy
close.
distance for him to close. Like that's wild.
Well, actually, speaking of that, like places where the wildlife really messes you up, I think India is probably up there.
Oh yeah, India's up there. They got like elephants and rhinos too, right?
Yeah, but the thing is, like tigers, there are a bunch of documented cases of tigers basically just
Yeah,
almost destroying villages.
that used to be the case in Korea. The stories go back, of people like being eaten by tigers, and tigers being a part of the mythology too, of like
Hmm.
the native people who lived there. Tigers were boogeymen in like Korean folk tales. They kind of took that role, because just for generations, people are like, yeah, screw these guys.
I'm just saying, if I was like a villager in like the
Yeah.
1400s, okay, and I'm just
Mhm.
out here chilling, and I see
Yeah.
a tiger come in at night, I'm gonna think
Oh
that's a
my
demon,
goodness.
okay?
Oh yeah,
Straight
no,
up.
that's straight from hell. It came straight from hell. From at least what I heard, like the tigers in India, they were the Bengal tiger, right? It's like
I
it's
think
more
so.
of like it's like more of a more compact speed killer, right? Because it's like smaller. It's like a jungle adapted animal. I
I
think
thought Bengal
in
tigers were bigger
or
than.
bigger, maybe.
I
I
feel
don't
like
know.
they're bigger.
Well, at least in Korea, like the tigers that were there, or in Northeast Asia, those are Siberian tigers. Yeah, I think they're well known for being fucking giant,
Oh
because
yeah.
let's face it, everything big in Russia. Those are the boonies, of Russia too. So it's like, uh,
But that actually happens nowadays. I don't know
mm,
if you knew this. Did you
uh,
know that India? I don't know. I don't remember what ranking it has, but it's one of the countries in the world where a phobia of dogs is the most common.
yes, yes, and then also in like a lot of Middle Eastern countries, right? There's
Yeah.
like a cultural stigma against dogs.
So I started looking into this because I
Mm,
was I go through like Quora a lot.
yeah.
Basically, Reddit for people that think they're smarter than the average Redditor. So going through there, and you see a lot of posts by Indian guys, and
uh,
there are a lot of stories of people, like dads just freaking dying because they got bit by a dog that had rabies, stuff like that,
oh
and
my
it's a
god.
really big issue. So there are a lot of
Mm,
hygiene issues in some of the more poorer regions of India.
yeah.
And by that same token, there are a lot of issues with a lot of stray dogs roaming around. They don't form these really big
Right. Right.
packs.
Yeah.
So there isn't really like anyone to take care of them. I mean, as far as
Hmm.
going taking them to like a pound, that isn't is really a thing. And they
Yeah,
also
or
don't get
giving
like
them like
regularly.
meds or anything for any
Yeah,
kind of like
and they
disease
also
or
exactly, and they also don't get regularly fed. So what ends up
Mhm.
happening is we have like these packs of very sick and very just violent
Like
dogs,
aggressive dogs. Yeah.
very
Wow.
aggressive dogs.
Mhm.
So a lot of people in India are just freaked out by dogs.
That makes sense. It's not just the flesh wound, they got to worry about being bitten. He's got the entire zombie virus, he's got the World War Z virus, brewing inside his, on his
Yeah,
gums.
you know, exactly. And that's something that's happening right now. This isn't like from 10 years ago. No, this is like
Yeah.
right now. People
Oh,
freak out about
wow.
dogs.
I mean, what else other than like eradication can you do about that, right? As as harsh as it sounds, I mean, biologists do that, right?
I mean, I'm not sure
Like,
'cause that's another issue. Like you can't.
yeah,
I mean, I guess no.
there's an ethical
You
issue there.
no. Technically, of course you can.
Right,
It's more
right,
of
right.
issue of should you.
Should you? Yeah, but I don't know. It's hard. I don't want to be the guy to decide. Like that's the thing. It's like it's the public health kind of concern, right? It's like because if you look at it that way, it's like they're not just a threat to us, but they're a threat to pets and livestock.
You want to know something that also happens here in Chile?
Mm.
Not to the same extent. So, just
Yeah.
in case you weren't aware, so Chile it's always been like called sort of the country in South America that's the closest to being becoming a first world country.
Hmm.
It's been called that for a really long time,
Yeah.
and that is true. We always say around here, like every child is born with a marraqueta under their arm. Basically, marraqueta is like a kind of bread. So
Oh,
you'll see like
gotcha.
even the really really poor
Mm.
people here, they
Yeah.
usually don't look hungry. Okay. And
Gotcha.
at least where I live in Antofagasta, it's very normal that you see just stray dogs, and those
Yeah.
guys are buff. They're either real buff or real fat.
Right. Like someone's
They're
been either
actually,
feeding them really well, or like, or they just been through it on like in the ringer on the street.
yeah, exactly. But that's the thing. Like, you don't see like very sick looking dogs. But
Mm,
what does happen, that's not always the case because we live here next to a very arid desert. Okay, and there have been
right.
cases of packs of dogs found in the desert.
Mm.
There's another area that's kind of close by called San Pedro, and
Mhm.
there have been
Oh,
like
we
I
have a
think
we have
I
a town
can.
called San Pedro nearby too.
Oh, really? So this
Pedro
is
rules, dude.
San Pedro. This is
Pedro.
San Pedro de
Yeah.
Atacama. So anyway,
Uh,
long story short, there are like 3 or 4 documented cases of
uh-huh.
especially women, and I think 2 cases of pregnant women that ended up,
Oh, wow.
passing away because they were attacked by packs of dogs in like the center of this, in like a downtown.
Nah,
Is
bro.
something that
Nah,
happens.
bro. Yeah. No, that's wild. That is wild. I mean, it's yeah, I mean, I don't want to say you got to kill the dogs, but
I think they did.
okay. Well, again, it is a not common, I would say, but it is a measure, right, to carry out like eradication, right, or for diseased populations.
Yeah, that is usually true. But I do think that I don't know because every state is different over the U.S. But I do think that in general you guys have a much more let's say very practical approach to the issue. Like for
Mhm.
example, dog pounds, right? Like as far
Right.
as as far as I'm concerned, you can correct me if I'm wrong. But you have like kinds of shelters, right? You got like no kill shelters, and then just like the pound and just other kinds of shelters.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what usually happens in that case, well, from my knowledge, people go around. There is pest control departments, and the government workers actually go around collecting stray dogs, and they take
Hmm.
them to the pound. And when it comes to
Hmm.
the pound, which is I believe, the people that work there are government officials. What ends
Hmm.
up happening is they get to stay for like I don't know a month maybe, and if
Hmm.
they don't get picked up by anyone or I don't know X thing happens, then they end up getting put down. So that's a very
Oh,
American thing.
yeah.
That's not a thing that happens
Right.
over here.
That's yeah. That's right. For a second, my mind drifted, but yes, that is correct. A lot of it has to do with like illegal breeding and all
Yeah,
that kind of stuff. So it's tough. It's almost like a hydra. You try to cut off one of the heads.
that solution is a very American thing. Over here in Chile,
Uh,
that doesn't really happen. We just have a bunch of dogs.
hmm Yeah, I mean, if they're vibing, I'm vibing. That's what I'm saying. If they're chill, hey, I'm chill, man.
Yeah, well, so like I told you, like here there have been issues with dog attacks, but there are like very few. I could think of like maybe 4, and I've lived here for I'm almost going to 15 years, so it's
Oh
it's
wow,
very
yeah.
infrequent, but it does
Hmm.
happen. Okay.
Well, good to know. If I ever visit, I'll make sure to suss out any of the aggressive dogs in the neighborhood.
Generally speaking, if you just don't like walk into the middle of the actual desert, you'll be fine.
Nice. I think we're closing up on an hour here almost. From when we first started. I guess we have a few minutes since, like we took some time at the beginning to get set up. But
Yeah,
should we close it out for now?
we need a name for this thing. That's a
I know we got to find the name for this. I don't know. That's tough. It usually takes some time to figure out.
okay. Let's see. What are our most repeated words this
I was thinking the
recording?
other day, based friends, the Based Friends podcast. We're based as hell. We say it like it
Okay,
is.
so we got vibe, we got pinga, and we got based.
Bingo.
Oh wait. There's a really cool insult in Spanish. Okay,
Uh-huh.
it's not actually like a bad thing to say. You can call someone
Yeah.
mamabicho,
Huh?
mamabicho.
Wait, send it in the lounge chat. I want to pronounce it. Oh, Mama Bicho.
Yeah, that's the thing,
Mama Bicho.
mamabicho. So mamabicho is like I think it literally translates to just like bug sucker.
Yeah, you sucking beetles, bro. Mama Bicho. That could work. That could work. No, that's so funny. Mama Bicho.
Let's do this the easy way. Okay,
Yeah.
most successful YouTubers just like get 2 random words and mix them together and they're done.
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah, for
Okay,
sure.
Quick, rapid fire. Give me your favorite words.
Based pinga. That just we're just combining words. Based pinga.
Huevos.
Huevos. Huevos.
Huevos.
Based huevos. Oh, that kind of goes hard. Based huevos. Bro, based eggs. I like that.
The huevos zone.
The huevo zone. You're about to enter the huevo zone. I
Yeah,
don't know about
you
you.
know, I actually kind of do like based huevos. I can just imagine like
Based
the
huevos.
icon.
Yeah.
The
Based
icon
huevos.
it would be just like 2 eggs.
Yeah, yeah. No. We should do like do a Wojak meme, like based Wojak, but like superimpose him on an egg.
Wait,
Like
hold on. Okay.
I could Photoshop that pretty quick. I'd say.
Chad
Based
egg.
where
What shows
chat
up?
egg.
You know, dude, I kind of really like this.
I really
Look,
like that name too,
hold on, check this out.
bro.
Uh, I don't know what you think about it, but I just really like this kind of idea of just like grabbing a face, putting it to an egg.
Let
It looks great, doesn't it?
me see this shit. Yo, yes,
It
dude.
looks great,
That was
doesn't
that
it?
Chad? Is that Chad from Anything for Views?
Yes,
Yeah,
it is.
it is. Yes, yeah, something like this. Yeah. No, dude, that's. Oh man, dude, if you're down, I can send maybe like in the next few days send you like a few like mock-ups of like a logo design or something.
I am down for the based huevos. It just sounds
Based
really good.
based huevos, bro. Based huevos. If I tell one of my friends about this, because Mama Huevo has been a meme for us for the past for at least November. He's gonna lose his shit. It's gonna be so funny. Like he's gonna be like, dude, you guys are dumb as hell, but at the same time, that's based.
You know what? I think it turns out like pretty okay. Yes, I'd say
Based
okay.
huevos.
Maybe there were some sections where we were like a bit, I don't know if it's like camera shy, but a little bit slow. Okay, but
Yeah, yeah.
generally it was interesting. I liked it.
Pretty good. Pretty good. I think there was some stuff in there. If you get all the video stuff together, I could send you drafts and stuff as well. Going through that.
Cool. Okay, so anyway, I'm down for the name.
Yeah.
So
Mama
doesn't
Huevos, bro.
yeah. It
Or
doesn't
not
gotta be
Mama
right
Huevos.
now.
Based Huevos.
Those based huevos. So
Based
it doesn't gotta
Huevos.
be right now, but we do gotta think of a color scheme. I think that's important. I've actually done this a couple times, even channel art stuff like
Yeah.
that, so I can help with
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I just
sure.
want to know
Yeah.
what colors you down with.
Yeah. I think we should take some time to think about it. This is like designing the flag for a country, you know? I'm going to start my own nation, my own country. Break out the coloring pens, break out the crayons. We about to make a generic ass flag made out of colored rectangles, just to meme on them.
I didn't tell you, but like, I also kind of like the set we got in the background. It's like real different.
Yeah.
They both look pretty good. I got my gnome hat. In the background.
Yeah, that's what I saw. I'm like, dude, like we got a full ass like elf skull up in here.
Anyway, guys, it's about all the time we got for now. We'll see you when we see you.
Yeah, see you in the next one. If there's gonna be a next one.
If there is a next one.
If there is a next one, but we got some ideas going, some funny stuff. Yeah, I mean, if anything, like we said before, this is just a conversation. Yeah, if you think it's one of those fancy hoity-toity podcasts, nah, you came to the wrong place, man. But yeah, have a good one and peace.
Everybody, see ya.